Hi, everyone. I'm going to read number 36 in just a minute. But before doing that, I'm going to do this where we talk, where I chat, because I have this observation about like social behavior, and I keep making the same observation every single week. I repeat the same observation. And so it feels like it's time to address it, to talk about it. Okay, I'm going to set the scene first. So here's the context. Every time I post one of these videos, every time I record and post one of these, there's an amount of backlash that I experience. And there's two forms, there's two kind of versions of backlash. One of them is somebody or like some somebodies have asked me for a favor. It's like an attention consuming, inconvenient task that I do, but I'm sort of obliged to out of the kindness of my heart. And I haven't done it yet. But I have the gall. I have the gall to post a video. How dare you? That sort of response. That's not the weird one. That's like the one that, like, all right, I get it. I can go as far as understanding and sympathizing with that. The weird one is the people who aren't irritated, irate about a unrequited request for like volunteer work. They're just angry, like purely out of judgment. It's like that's what he's doing with his life. That's what he chooses to do with his spare time. And then they have some alternative idea about how I should be spending those 17 minutes a week, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, whatever my average amount of time per week doing this is. They have an alternative, plan for me. And I think it's worth the reminder for everybody, just once in a while, that humans, like human beings, we don't own other human beings. That's not healthy in any ethically prosperous society. And like as an extension of that, we don't own each other's actions. Like humans are not eligible as marionettes. And so getting mad that somebody's actions aren't quite the same as you insist they be. Okay, let's talk about my actions. Like, what actually are people getting irritated with? Okay, so I don't want to talk about this here, but I've talked about it before. I cope with chronic illness. And there are good days, okay? And there are more bad days than good days, but there are both. Likewise, there are good weeks. Not that many, but once in a while, I'm like, well, good week. And then there are bad weeks. And a lot of times, I don't even know if it's like the majority, but many times I choose to record these videos on a bad day because, I might spend 22 hours, 23 hours in bed that day. And I don't have the energy, the attention, the resources, right, the capacity to do something that requires that's like more laborious, And so, but can I talk for 15 minutes? Can I put on a little performance? Can I muster the energy to sort of put on a show and chat for 10 minutes and then read something I wrote a year ago out loud or whatever? Yeah, I think I can. I can probably get through this, and I'll go back to bed afterward. And the reason I do it is I feel better about life and my role in it. Doing these videos, clearly I enjoy them. I think there's an amount of energy or enthusiasm that probably is detectable that I like enjoy this process. And but then like it just gets me through an otherwise difficult day. Otherwise, like biologically difficult day. But then the next day, I post it, whatever. And the next day, I have to hear about somebody's bitterness of how I chose to spend my time. And it makes me wonder, like, why do they watch it? What, like if you hate it so much, if you hate these videos that much, why concentrate so hard on everything I say? Like nobody is making anybody watch these. So, if it really does in your deep downs irritate you that much, like don't click on it. Don't like push play and turn the volume up and study intently what I'm saying. And I think I know the reason that people do it, which is People love feeling angry. Like anger is something people go. It just when people are angry, it enlivens them. When they thrive in that feeling, and so they seek it out. They seek out sources to arouse that anger. Maybe it's like political disputes or my peaceful videos. I do get nice emails. I get really nice commentary of people who connect with moral messages, the philosophy that's like a childlike innocence. And there's really nice comments that I get, but I also receive the like people are just there for the anger, and I'm not one of those people. Like I'm sorry, anger is something I prefer to avoid, sort of wherever possible, and it should kind of almost always be possible. And so, like, let's say hypothetically, you in your spare time you go to restaurants and eat out, or bars or something, and like drink out, or you have like social networking and you scroll or you post or something like that. Party, maybe like you go to parties, not like I'm having a conversation with somebody, but like a big gathering, something of that kind. Maybe it's like bowling, maybe you go bowling, or other sports. I don't care if you consider bowling a sport, but like you either watch or participate in some other sort of like gambling. I get together with the guys and we play poker, or like you go to a casino, or something like that. Maybe it's like outdoor rec, yeah, camping and fishing and hunting, like wildlife things. I don't know, what else do people do? Like vacations. Maybe you go on vacation, not like I'm on a business trip and I make the most of it, or I tack a day at the end, something like that. But actual vacation, or like the movie maybe you go to the movie theater and I like to see the first releases in a public format, or like you go to the barber, or you groom facial hair like carefully or something like that, just like, well, I'm just gonna let the dishevel, become me. Whatever you do, that's fine. I don't have any problems with whatever your behaviors are, as long as there's no victims. Then you go at it, and your decisions are not my choice to make. And if you encounter people in life who insist so strongly that they control your actions, like that should really give everyone the creeps, And so, with that acknowledgement, with that this observation now off my chest and out of my mouth, I'm going to read Journal 36, and I'm like, first, somehow I'm going to incite anger when I do. It's weird. Okay, so Journal 36, New Year's Sunday, January 1st, 2023. Counting my breaths. Hi, everyone, and Happy New Year. Yesterday was the alcohol economy's equivalent of Black Friday, so the world is likely full of Elpenors this morning. Corsage and boutonniere peddlers have prom. The heart-shaped chocolate and cut rose industries have Valentine's Day. Neon industrial strength marshmallow manufacturers have Easter. Hershey, Nestle, Mars, and Metformin have Halloween. Gunpowder mills have the first few days of July. Flashlight and Pop-Tarts have hurricane season. And booze had yesterday, and St. Patrick's Day, and Cinco de Mayo, and a few others in the college fraternity calendar. I haven't had alcohol in years, so I went to bed at 8 o'clock last night and got up at 4 o'clock this morning thinking about resolutions. Last January 1st, I resolved to write in this journal 7 days in a row, like my protagonist. No excuses, enough with the sporadic participation, actually do it every day, first thing in the morning, before coffee, before exercise, before plying a set of bellows at the necks of neighborhood cats to see if it frightens them, or if they just regard it as ordinary wind and accordingly disregard it. I wrote in my journal every day for 7 days, but only once each day, and then I blew more air at cats. But my protagonist does 3 a days, so I've decided to make a new New Year's resolution. I'm going to do another 7 straight entries, except this time I'm going to write 3 each day. Tomorrow and tomorrow's tomorrow. Counting today, that makes 7. And then I'll be done, because I don't want to do this forever. For the next 2 days, though, I will be fully protagonistic. On January 3rd, when I go to bed, I will have protagonisted to the best of my ability for 2 days. For now, though, let me offer a progress update. Just for context, this is but January 1st progress update. This isn't actually today's as I'm reading it. Book 1, 58%. The Ballad of Farhar, 54%. Book 2, 64%. Book 3, 30.2%. Book 4, 10.2%. Book 5, 20.4%. Sometimes when I reflect on these numbers, I feel sick. Like I realize how much work is left to complete the first book, let alone the other 5. And I'm overcome by panic and nausea and a sort of anxious vertigo. And then I remember, I'm going to keep writing this story regardless of whether I finish. The effort isn't contingent on completion. It's just part of my daily routine. So why would it be a source of anxiety? Over the next decade, there are approximately 5,259,600 minutes. The Rent song doesn't factor in leap year. Let's say I take an average of 13 breaths a minute. That's 68,374,800 breaths before the decade ends. And I wouldn't look at that number and start panicking and thinking feeble thoughts like, I'll never be able to do it. I just assume my endogenous bellows will keep on puffing as a matter of course, and I'll eventually get there. Thus, my nausea and dizziness begin to depart. Then I finish peeing and get back to work. I'm usually peeing when I have these thoughts. It's a pretty common experience, but I've never documented it until now. Happy New Year's Sunday. Okay, so that is number 636. And I like time to commence anger. Roar! I'm so mad. People will feel in their hearts after watching this. So, but like my departing wish is that if you encounter that you receive it in emotionally healthy ways. But like more than that, I hope that you are relatively emancipated from sort of domineering, tyrannical social overlords. But I'm going to end actually with a reading, very brief. It's like one sentence. Yeah, everyone knows my favorite author, Oscar Wilde. If you didn't know that, my favorite author is Oscar Wilde. So this is The Soul of Man Under Socialism, page 27 in my edition. Anybody can sympathize with the sufferings of a friend, but it requires a very fine nature. It requires, in fact, the nature of a true individualist to sympathize with a friend's success. So that's it. My real parting hope is that you have people in your life who are individualists, people who sympathize with your choice of life and decisions and your successes. Okay, bye, everyone.